baby.
can't reveal our hand.
Don't talk about it now. We are streaming.
Yeah.
We should really do like a 3, 2, 1 thing in the future just to...
It'll take a sec to come up anyway. It's okay.
Alright.
We can't let people know about that one.
I was thinking about having using the stream thing, the get ready or whatever, the starting soon screen that we have made, but then we don't have anything else announced for the show, so why would we show that? You know what I mean?
The first thing we show is the stream getting ready screen.
That'd be crazy. Sorry, I haven't eaten today, so I have a little snack in front of me.
Yeah, no worries.
Welcome to the Final Boss podcast. Can I get rid of this stupid ad? There we go. Welcome to the Final Boss podcast.
Wait, we have an ad?
We have a sponsor for this video.
And we're not being paid either.
Somebody said my favorite white man. Oh no, don't call me that.
Oh my god.
I'm 5% Portuguese.
Really?
And
Well,
hold
I'm
on to
sitting
that
here.
Forever. While you're sitting here, are you white? I don't know. Anyways,
I'm white.
I think everyone who watches Death Battle is white. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
screams.
Every single person who watches Death Battle talks like they're from the hood, but they're really from a respectable suburban neighborhood. Loving parents.
You get the Death Battle like gatekeepers who are just like, yes, we'd like the finer battles. Bill Cipher versus Discord, yes.
Yes, my OC should be on Death Battle because only I like him.
Anyways, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Dark Lord. We haven't seen him since he did his pitches to you guys.
Hello.
Yep, and then we have Zoro, pretty regular on here at this point.
Hi.
So I want to be upfront. We have less matchups to talk about this time. Not that we didn't get enough submissions. But with time and everything like that, I kind of wanted to cut down a little bit and be a little more respectful of the people here who are willing to be here without getting paid. But if your matchup isn't on here today, that doesn't mean it's not ever going to show up. I put... the post is going to go down soon for the requested matchups. It'd be weird to keep getting requested matchups after the fact. But I have every matchup that I didn't use today and your descriptions of what makes them good in a document to the that I'm going to pull out later for a future podcast episode, kind of like a part 2 of this. Because we have people like Sherm, we have people like Saul here that had matchups they wanted to talk about, but they couldn't be here today. So I kind of want to re-explore that with other people. Talk about more of your matchups represented more. So if it's not here today, don't feel bad. Don't think it's never going to get talked about. But that being said, I'm going to start with our first matchup. I forgot to share the screen ahead of time. Sharing screen.
Drum roll.
The first one, Sauron versus Ganondorf.
Ooh.
I love this matchup so much. You have no idea. I saw this in DBM Cast when I made that ranking video a little while ago, and I fell in love with it. Death Battle Cast just did it. You'll see me talk about it again pretty soon. I fell in love with it even more. And the more I think about it, the more I love it. Hold on, let me make this big. What am I doing?
Alright, before we get too far into it, I need to point it out. In the Sauron side of the thumbnail, is that just a PNG from a D&D werewolf from the Monster Manual?
It might be.
I'm sorry, I just noticed that. I'm like, wait a minute. It's not
just...
Lord of the Rings. But yeah, that aside, yeah, I think if Ganondorf would come back into a Versus series, Sauron would be the matchup to go with. Like, they are some of the most iconic Dark Lords in media, so just putting them together to fight just makes sense.
And their powers.
Yeah, I agree. This is so really cool. Yeah, I remember watching the Lord of the Rings movies a while back, and like they are really good. Like, yeah, they are really good. But yeah, the reincarnation Kings of Evil who constant scorns upon the lands that they're in, shapeshifting, all that jazz sounds amazing.
Even stuff like the Ring of Power and the Triforce of Power, like, you know, good symbolism there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of a Zelda fan than a Lord of the Rings. I like Lord of the Rings, it's just Frodo keeps me from enjoying them as much as I could.
Here's
I
my
am
question. Who do
the
you guys
exact
think
opposite.
wins?
I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. Not that big into Zelda, but mostly because the only Nintendo console my parents got me was a Wii, and I played Mario Galaxy instead of Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that's
Shame
fair.
me in the comments section, chat.
I was gonna say, if your first game was Skyward Sword, I can imagine you not liking it.
I did not play any Zelda games. My only knowledge of the franchise was just like watching Let's Plays.
Sword is not as bad as people say it is.
It's not.
You know.
I'm a huge Zelda fan. When I first played Skyward Sword, I gave up on it because I got to the desert area and I just couldn't figure out what to do. It was the second time visiting it. I roamed around for like hours and I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, I'm done. Saul is here. I feel bad now because I didn't include Saul's matchups because I want to hear him talk about it. But if he's here, he could have given me context because 2 of his matchups I don't know any of the context of. So I apologize, Saul, but I want to re-explore this topic with you later again, so we can still talk about it at some point.
I am a lore master, so I might know a thing or two about the matchups.
Yeah. I love.
Yeah.
Never mind. I almost spoiled something with the show.
Well,
Not totally
as
convinced
far-
on it, Dario. I'm gonna get you, Dario. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you to love this. I saw someone say Ultra versus Red versus Ultra M might not be here. It is not. I used your other matchup because I want to at least try to use one per person. But the other matchup is here, and I need to learn more about more about Red and more about Ultra M before I try to talk about it. I know you have your paragraph, and I do have that paragraph saved, but I still want to know more about it.
I mean, Normal is a pretty big like M fan, so like he could probably tell you a thing or two about the matchup.
Oh yeah, when I posted it on the Discord for the show, he was the only one that was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." So like, I could probably ask him for some details as well.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with that side of like, you know, the creepypasta whatnot. So
Yeah.
I
have
characters and like I have no idea who these people are.
Hey,
yeah.
I
I
have
read
Sonic
all of
EXE, so
that's
Yeah, that still baffles me.
it honestly, it's not that. Not to get off of Ganondorf, Sauron, because this is great. It's not that. No, we just started. By the way, you're not late. It's not that it's like bad. It's that there isn't much to the new canon. So a lot of it you have to pull from the old canon, which granted they're similar, right? For Sonic EXE, they're very similar canons. It's just the new one is not. It doesn't have like the whole. I don't know if you've read the second
There are a
Sonic
lot of
story.
there's a lot of gaps that you have to fill for yourself.
The second Sonic EXE story is about a detective who's going through the EXE files and tracking down how all these people are getting killed through the computer screen. And it's really cringy and really bad, but it's where we get the Cult of X. But the Cult of X still exists within the new, like, canon. But it hasn't done anything because the games haven't come out. We just know that the Cult of X wiki is canon to Sonic EXE because, Doughboy, I think that's his name, Joe Doughboy, had said that Cult of X wiki, the Lord X wiki, and the Sonic EXE wiki are all canon. So even if there's articles on those wikis, it's canon, essentially, even if they don't have a source, which is slightly frustrating. Also, apparently Sonic EXE is an alien now and not from another universe, according to Joe Doughboy's Twitter, because I have to keep up with this shit for the episode. So that's just fun shit right there. But anyway, I'll get off of that now. We can move on to the next one. I didn't dislike it as much as I thought I would, though. That's a plus.
Yeah.
a bunch of friends of mine like this matchup, but like not too into either franchise to, like, say anything major about it.
All right, I have
never
thoughts.
played Cuphead. So just
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
watched the
both of these
Cuphead show
games.
though. That was fun.
Yeah. So Snatcher versus the Devil from Cuphead. I see the vision with this one, like, you know, deal makers from indie titles. I'm not sure how the scaling would work for this one. Like, it'd be a cool matchup. It's just,
I can tell you. Right
I don't know.
Now,
There's not really a lot of
matchup,
feats to pull.
This
I know
matchup
the
doesn't
Devil
exist
you
for
could
scaling. Just saying.
Yeah, like
It's the
you
vibe.
could like. I know Cuphead has the show, so we could probably pull some stuff from that to kind of supplement the little we see of him doing stuff during the boss fight. But I'm just, you know, I'd have a hard time imagining how we do Snatcher outside the boss fight, since outside of that, we don't really get to see much of what he does.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
I know
I'm just
he
gonna say
has
this
like.
guy's name real quick because he's calling me out in the comments. He said, "I use your matchup, you motherfucker. You're avoiding my name. It's add a good ending to MM. I'm just gonna call you Tannis because that's at the end of the name. I'm just saying that now. Also, yes, this is related to the community post I made a week ago. Continue.
But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. It's like, I love the concept. I wouldn't know. Like, it'd be tricky to figure it out, but I think we could make it work.
Yeah, I mean, we'd like research the matchup if we do it, so like we'd know more about the characters. So we could do things with it. But like,
yeah, like the Snatcher has a lot more backstory than one might think. Just playing through the game, he's like has a whole history of like Vanessa and whatnot. But
yeah, I know that much at least. But
I believe the Cuphead show does have like a bunch of seasons, so I think you could use that as a resource.
Got 3 seasons. Like last I checked.
Yeah. Someone in the comments.
Yeah, I said that earlier. But we could definitely pull from that.
Nata Neural. I'm sorry, I'm bad with these names. I'm gonna say your names now so people don't get mad at me. But I think there's a lot you can do here. I know their boss fights are very limited. The Devil seems to be much stronger than Snatcher, most likely. But I think the idea of having these two people who kind of force people into contracts to do things for them, I think there's a lot there in terms of connections. I can't remember off the top of my head the Snatcher fight, but I know he can create like shock waves. He can like teleport you to alternate like either spaces that already exist, or he creates his own spaces. I'm not quite sure how that works yet.
Oh wait, I just thought of something interesting for the Snatcher side of things that might play an interesting role in the fight. Because you can't harm Snatcher unless he's blue.
So what, he like can't lose unless he's just like, yeah, you know what? You can win now. Like, that's the only way you can beat him?
Basically, what happens in the fight is that usually in Hat in Time, boss enemies will have like a frame where like they're highlighted in blue, and that's when you can damage him. And Snatcher's like, yeah, you're probably waiting for me to turn blue, but like I'm just not. So what you have to do is that he'll throw these potions that just so happen to be blue. So you basically have to like grab a potion that he drops and throw it on him before you can start dealing damage. Because he's like, wait, did you just turn me blue with my own attack? But, like, theoretically, if Snatcher decides to be a bit smarter here, he could potentially just have invincibility on the whole fight, which would be funny to see.
That is funny, yeah.
I want people's input on this real quick. This isn't about the matchup, because I love this matchup. I think it would be fun. I'm looking at, so my comments are down here for me, right? So if you're ever wondering why I keep looking down like that, it's because I'm trying to keep up with everyone's comments. I don't know what this fucking shit is, the number 1, number 2 shit. I think there's a new YouTube like ranking system that exists, and I really don't like the idea of that, so I might disable it. But like, what do people think about this feature? Because I think it's a little insulting to try to rank the people who like you. I don't know. It's like, give me more money, it'll be number 1, something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I just don't like it very much.
It looks
No, I
like
say we keep it. We force a hierarchy within our YouTube live stream, and then we only acknowledge people with a high enough rank, so then you too can have an opinion on this show if you give me money directly to my bank account.
apparently you get experience by making comments. Because I just posted test and it gave me 25 experience.
Oh, it's the amount of comments
So I think
posted. That's what Dario said as well. If I were to guess the people who are most interactive with me off the top of my head, Tannis, Dario are the two that I think of immediately. Because they like leaving me essays, and even though I don't respond to those essays, I promise I do read them and I do take notes for them. I promise.
Tannis is number 2, Dario's number 3. Akira got off, but like
Akira Yamaguchi the Kitsune.
Yeah, that guy. He's number 1. So
yeah, what a goat. High five. Step up your game, people. Be my fan more, I guess.
We are actively farming parasocial relationships.
Natural, right, if you're trying to farm HP, then each spam should have been its own message.
I will move on to the next one. I do think this is cool. If anyone thinks I skipped their matchup too much, let me know, and I will go find the thing you wrote for it, and I'll read a little bit of it, and I'll relay that information. Just so I represent it the best I can. So just let me know. We got this one. Zoro reacted to it. I clicked on me and not the thing. Okay, here we go. Akuma versus Kazuya. Kazuya. Oh my god. Am I right? Is that Kazuya?
Yeah,
that is Kazuya.
Okay, it's been a while since I played Tekken.
Guy who's in Smash.
Honestly, when I saw it, like, this is just one of those matchups where you look at it, and if you know both characters, you're like, yeah, that just makes sense. Because
it's just a Ryu versus Jin, but evil.
I do like this. I think it's cool, and as the only guy that likes Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I think it'd be cool to do. The Oni form, Shin Akuma is whatever, but the Oni form versus the Devil, I think, is like probably the most appealing thing for me, because we got Devil Jin, but like I feel like the scaling and like what they can do now after the newest Tekken game, is this too high? The scaling and what they can do now with the newest Tekken game is so crazy now. And I don't know if Street Fighter compares to it, but I think it would be cool to see because Akuma is essentially the highest end Street Fighter, right? Like, I don't think there's another character like him, and I think unlike who did Akuma fight last? Shao Kahn. I think unlike Shao Kahn, the fact that Shao Kahn could resist his soul getting manipulated, destroyed, I don't think Kazuya has the same resistance. I could be wrong, but I don't think Tekken has soul resistances, at least not yet. So I'm very curious if you can say that Akuma has the hacks ability of destroying his soul, while he has the stats. Kazuya has the stats ability.
I know of Tekken, but I'm not too diverse on like the specifics of like how the Devil Gene works. So, but one thing that is very interesting is that Akuma showed up in Tekken 7. So we know that Akuma does at least scale to the Tekken universe, at least as of Tekken 7. So with Tekken 8, the scaling might have gotten past him, but that would definitely be an interesting factor of like going through Tekken 7 and seeing how Akuma himself has impacted the plot, because that would be just the most direct version of scaling of like, well, they crossed over before, and this is what he was able to do.
Somebody said it's a shame that Hell Teacher Nube doesn't have a matchup. Well, let's change that. I have my series coming up. I already scripted the first episode. I just got to record and edit it. Of the series finding matchups for opponents who are obscure or who don't have matchups. I will put Nube on that list and we will try. Also, watch the new Hell Teacher Nube. For some reason, it's only on YouTube, of all things. You can only watch it free. It's not getting much advertising, but it looks cool. And they take out some of the more problematic stuff in the original series. So, I would give it a watch. I like it.
I'm sorry, what's Hell Teacher Nube?
Hell Teacher Nube is an old anime / manga from, I believe, the 90s about a teacher, Nube, who has this demon hand. And he kind of like like protects his students from extraterrestrial threats, but it's never like, it's not like Demon Slayer type like gory, bloody or anything, because all his students are like, I think middle school age, and they're not about to rip kids apart. It's more like lighthearted shonen than anything else. Like it was for the time, like 90s style.
I mean, when has being young ever stopped teenage deaths? I mean, Naruto killed off a bunch of people in the tuning exam. So.
Well, you know what I mean. Like not Demon Slayer, like brutal, like oh my god, people are getting ripped apart and.
Oh yeah, that
true. Kind of stuff. It's very lighthearted. It's very nice. Why do I hear myself?
It's not coming from
very,
my end.
It's very lighthearted. It's very interesting. The original series had. It's been so long since I've seen it, but the original series had an issue where the characters were middle school age, and there was weird things with them. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
I want to keep monetization, please.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, or like 14, 15, I was like, oh, didn't even think about it. But I went back and watched a little bit of it before the new show came out, and it was like, all right. Interesting. But they cut all that out of the new show. That is not the focus at all.
Good.
It's not there anymore, so I think it's better. But
anyway, all right, guys, we're safe.
We're safe. Anyways, I recognize one of the names in here. I don't remember what they're from. Is that your friend Zoro? Kudo?
Well,
Kudo.
You'll have to change the slide first for me to recognize it.
Oh no! In the comments, the Kudo Tsuguri.
Oh, Kudo! Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Fun fact: the artist from Hell Teacher also drew Digimon Next. Oh, that's cool, actually.
Let's move on to the next one. This one had every single person's seal of approval on that Discord. It's the only one that every single one of you was like, "Fuck, I'm down." I just want to point that out.
Hell yeah!
I will back it up again because, yeah, like this is just a really cool way. Like, as far as like ultimate beings and anime go, like these two relatively scale to each other, Cars and Meruem, and it's just they kind of have similar themed powers too. With like once Cars goes ultimate, being able to like alter his body based on biology, and Meruem literally being a chimera ant, being like the best of every single living thing, and just being a god. And then like,
yeah, you also get to have this sort of like, because both series are centered around strategy a lot, you get to see both try to like think around the opponent and try and figure out like how exactly to take the other down. Like,
yeah. Especially
Meruem like, is definitely a better strategist than Cars, but like still be interesting.
Yeah, but Meruem is not also above being tricked, because he got tricked into blowing himself up with a nuke.
Is it Meruem or Meruem?
Meruem.
I call him. Yeah.
At least that's how they pronounce it in the dub.
Oh, okay.
So they might say
I just say Meruem because I'm a nerd.
I think this would be cool, specifically for the fact of I really like when we get old JoJo representation before the stands. We only got that with Jonathan so far. You can't do that with Dio unless you ignore part 3. But I feel like Cars is even more than Joseph, because Joseph has a stand later on.
Yeah, it's
Cars
purple.
is the perfect original character from JoJo.
Well, I think in that regard, Wamu would also be a very good candidate.
Does he have an opponent?
Well, I've seen Wamu got a pitched to death battle. Let me look up
I think
the
it was like Ice Scander from Fate or something. Yeah.
He did get a pitch. Plus, like, if we're just looking at like wanting a good old JoJo, Wamu is one of the more popular Pillarman, probably even more popular than Cars.
All right, let's not get let's not be rash.
I said maybe. Like the real consensus is that AC/DC is just does not compare to these two.
Like the band?
Yeah.
Yeah. One more thing I want to say about this matchup in particular and why I like it is that, you know, usually when we get like these final villains, it's like Madara versus Aizen, which are like these grander than life, can manipulate time, space, illusion type characters that just are like planet busters. These guys are relatively grounded despite being big bads of their series, so you get the hype of seeing two Ultimate Titans clash while still like keeping it at the level where strategy matters and it's not just which bullshit can I throw the hardest at.
Yeah. Like, one of my submissions is exactly like that. Like, I still like it a lot, but like, it definitely does like fall to that problem. But like, Cars versus Meruem, it just hits every single point that you could want with that.
I think it's the best for both. I am not someone who is like huge into Hunter x Hunter. I know there's a lot of people who are. I'm just not one of those guys. But I look at this matchup, and I think there's nothing else you can do, right? Like Meruem, Cars. I feel like this is almost perfect based on what I know. I've never read the JoJo's manga, so I don't know exactly if Cars is different. But based on what I know from both of them in the animes, I think it would be such an interesting fight. And they have crazy powers.
Guys will see this and just go, hell yeah.
But it doesn't matter because they're not going to kill each other with a crazy attack. They're going to kill each other by thinking around each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also really...
How does Cars die? Because didn't he get an immunity to light? And so they had to throw him into space to kill him?
Yeah. Technically...
No, he's still alive.
Yeah, technically he's still alive. It's just after he got thrown into space, he tried to like jet himself back to Earth, but the air froze around him and he became a comet and he just is wandering through space. But at this point, he's basically brain dead. To quote the iconic line, eventually Cars stopped thinking. So he's technically alive, but he's also kind of brain dead, so it's basically dead.
Yeah. I think that this matchup is really cool, though.
He can still tie, they just weren't powerful enough. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I do want to say this. If we were to do this fight, the finale would definitely be Meruem learning how to use Hamon and Cars learning how to use Nen and them using it to fight against each other and even mixing it in different ways. Like, that is definitely a must.
That would be some next level writing right there if we could do that and have it make sense.
Yeah,
I am so down. As a JoJo's Hunter x Hunter freak, I am so down. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, like matchups where you can have the opponents steal each other's powers and then start using them in different creative ways is just like peak fiction with like verses and crossovers and shit like this.
Especially since both of these characters are known for being geniuses that just pick up things on the fly, so it's not even that far of a stretch to assume that they would pull this because they've already have pulled this bullshit in the past.
That's how they learned. Well, that's how like Cars learned Hamon because he like let himself get hit after he became Ultimate, and then was like, "Oh, so that's what it's like." And then he just started using it. And then Meruem learned Nen because he like ate the flesh of people who did know how to use Nen, and then all of a sudden he figured out how to use it. So like, legitimately, they would learn how to use it mid-fight because that's what they've already done.
Yeah, and didn't Meruem... I haven't seen the show in a while, so I might be misremembering this, but didn't he at one point just like... Because one of the Nen beasts, one of the Chimera ants that helped the heroes had the Nen ability of holding his breath to stop time. But didn't Meruem... Wasn't he able to move within the stopped time, or was he just too fast for him to react to it?
Because I do not remember that. But Jesus Christ, if that was something, then like... Oh my god.
Yeah, like, if you could learn how to bypass...
If you can stop time, I think Meruem's got this. I'm just saying.
I mean, all Cars has to do is find a noob.
I might not be able to kill you, but I'm fast enough in order to where it doesn't matter.
I'm fast enough that trying to track me will turn you brain dead.
This becomes less of a fist fight in this.
I just saw the comment that says every time we say Cars, it reminds him of Pixar's Cars. From Tannis. And
all right.
every time I hear Cars,
Johnny Joestar.
No. Lightning Beam Queen versus Putt Putt. Let's fucking go. If you remember who Putt Putt is, or am I?
Oh, I remember Putt Putt.
I vaguely know who Putt Putt is. Yeah.
You'd have to.
I'm almost scared to do Putt.
Oh, I would.
I'm almost scared to do Putt Putt research, just because I'm scared of what scaling we might find.
This is a horrible image. I'm sorry. It's what I could find.
You could have just asked me to
Jafar.
make a good thumbnail. I'm good at that, but
I know
right.
You're really good at thumbnails. But I didn't want to keep asking you guys to make stuff for me because I felt bad.
You are paying us You were paying us, okay? Like,
not for these podcasts. He's not.
No, I was gonna say. But
right, we're not getting paid. All right, I'm out.
Yeah. Oh, bye, Dark Lord. But yeah, getting back on track. Maleficent versus Jafar. It's one of these matchups where, like, I'm sure it's been around for a while, but I've never heard of it. But then as soon as I see it, I'm just like, oh, yeah, that just makes sense.
Yeah, like I remember a friend literally described it exactly like that. Like, it just is... It just makes sense. Like, you look at it and you just go, oh, yeah, of course, best for both. And then you move on with your day.
Yeah, like...
Fan Battle actually, I think, covered this matchup.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did this. I was about to say who wins, but if nobody's actually... Go watch it. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
in fact, their voice for Maleficent is the person we have for upcoming episode. So, yeah, that's right. I snipe voice actors from other versus shows. Fuck you, fight me.
We don't use the term snipe. We use the term network.
Yeah, we network. But no, he had a really cool fight, and honestly, he did so well that unless you wanted to pair animation to his fight, I don't think there would be a point in doing it. Like, for us specifically, Death Battle with their budget, go ahead. But with the way Fan Battle covered this, it was so interesting. The voice acting was so good. The dialogue itself was really cool. They took full advantage of Jafar having his access to his different forms, like turning into a snake, turning into a genie, and Maleficent turning into a dragon, and all their crazy magic abilities from sources I didn't know existed. But it's really cool. You should totally go watch it if you haven't. I don't know Noah like everyone else here does, but I will shill him because I think he's a really good writer and he has some quirky little passion.
Yeah, like Tristan said it the best. Like, I don't really see what we could do with this, and Fan Battle already did it. Already made peak.
Yeah. Not to say it's against if we get a better budget, all towards us. I would definitely like to try to go all out on something, but right now, Fan Battle, flawless.
Yeah,
I think. Speaking of go watch Fan Battle, they just came out with oh my god, the Robin Hood from Robin Hood Men in Tights versus King Arthur from Monty Python The Holy Grail. If that idea alone doesn't sell you on going to watch them, I think you should. I don't know what to tell you. It's so stupid. It's great.
Noah suffered physical pain making that episode, so you should go and watch it for that.
Wait, physical pain? Like...
I will not elaborate.
Breakers,
You're going to have to watch the episode itself in order to find out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see.
About. All right, moving on. We got Dimentio versus Marx. My personal preferred for both.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, I really like this matchup. I know it was recommended. There was an ult for Dimentio that I like a little more, just because I prefer. All right, so I won't go too much into that, but like those two matchups along with Dimentio Marx, like they all have like the chaotic jester theme and whatnot. So like they're really close ults. Like it's literally just personal bias. Like depending on if we do this one or the other one, I'd be happy with doing both, because although I will say, I think Marx and Dimentio cover, like, if you wanted a Jester matchup, this would be more thematic appropriate.
Yeah. Kefka Loki is the other Jester matchup, but personally, this one appeals to me more. Mostly because I am way more of a video game fan than a comic book fan, and I think Loki fucking tears Kefka's head off and eats it. And I think this is, and the other one that we'll talk about in a second, I think this one is also really close. Depending on what you believe for Mario and Kirby scaling, that is. But I think
if we do this episode, then like Normal would fight so hard for Marks to win.
I know.
Like,
whenever we make these, I never have a preferred, and I hear so many times like people are like, "Oh, I hope so and so wins," and I keep an eye on them. I won't say for which matchup it was, but there was someone who's like, "Dude, I'm gonna find a way for him to win," and I'm keeping an eye on his research the whole time. I'm like, "Don't make up shit. Don't do it."
Like if I ever do that. For, like, I know there's an episode I'm working on where I love both characters dearly, but I wouldn't, like, make crap up. I would just, like, do a deep dive into the abilities and, like, okay, like, how do these abilities interact? And, you know, when we discuss the episode after the research is done, I actually have some really interesting arguments that, you know, pulled from some interesting places. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah. Also, Paper Mario, especially Super Paper Mario, is like... I know a lot of people say it's probably like the beginning of the decline of Paper Mario, because they kind of like switched up the formula. It's no longer an RPG because Mario and Luigi series started taking that. But like, that first one, I don't know about the ones after that. That first Super Paper Mario was the first one I played, so there's so many memories in my head. I never finished it, mind you, but I really want to re-explore that whole series, that whole universe, and really learn about this character. Same thing with Marx. I've only ever played the first Kirby game, and I know that's great. Oh, and Kirby Air Raid. So I want to learn more about Marx, because I see crazy scaling for these characters. I just want to see where it comes from.
Yeah.
It would definitely be fun to bring Paper Mario on the show, because, like, I'm a Paper Mario fan, and just to give you context on, like, you know, Super Paper Mario is beloved today. Paper Mario and, Color Splash are not. So, just to give you an idea of, like, where we stand with that right now.
Yeah.
Origami King depends on the person.
I'm willing to give everything a shot and give my honest opinion. Again, there's a ton of games I've played that people like rave about, like Okami.
Please skip Sticker Star.
I played Okami, and people told me it's one of the greatest games of all time. I saw a playthrough where they were like, it's better than any Zelda game. I played it, and I hated it. So, like, I really don't let people make up, like, my opinion of things. If people say Sticker Star sucks, I want to try it. I want to give it a shot before I say it sucks.
Yeah.
All right, well, don't say we didn't warn you.
I'm in the same camp, except I hate BioShock. And now my credibility has been destroyed. Amazing.
I love BioShock.
God damn! I mean, I've never played it, but, like, bold statement to make.
Yeah, I know. I hate BioShock. Like, literally one of my least favorite games of all time. Like, that I've ever played, at least.
That's crazy. I would love to do BioShock, though. Not gonna lie. Booker versus DeWitt is probably one of my favorite matchup ideas. If you don't know, it's Dishonored versus BioShock Infinite.
Yeah. Actually, a BioShock matchup I do like is Jack Ryan, the protagonist from the first game, versus Morgan Yu from Prey 2017, I think it was.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I know. I really like the matchup. I think it's really cool.
Anyway,
and I would be so...
Let's get back on track. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, the other Dimentio matchup.
It's my preferred Dimentio matchup.
I don't think people realize how much I can yap about anything. If we didn't have a topic for one of these podcasts, we could probably talk for 2 hours straight with no lulls and be fine. It's just I also like talking about these. Magolor, I think his name is. I realized today I misspelled his name on the Discord when I place this matchup in there. I need more explanation on this because I don't know Magolor.
All right, so spoilers for like a 10-year-old plus game at this point, but Magolor is pretty similar to Marx. Like, I think they're even like close friends in Kirby canon, but basically in Return to Dreamland, Magolor is your companion, and most of the game is about helping him reassemble his ship, go back to his homeland, and then there's this evil dragon called Landia that Kirby has to take down, only to realize that Landia was the guardian of this thing called the... Oh, gosh. Something... It's the something crown. I forget what the actual name is. But, you know...
Just call it the crown for now.
Yeah. So Magolor takes the crown from Landia and is like, oh, by the way, I'm actually evil, and now I'm going to go destroy Popstar. Okay, thanks, die. So, kind of similar role of Marx of, like, tricking Kirby into giving him an artifact of power. The main difference is that the crown itself kind of takes over Magolor's mind, and Magolor actually does have a redemption in, like, Deluxe, where he kind of goes off and, like, destroys the soul of the crown. So, he's got a little bit more going on to Marx. I like this matchup more just because Marx is a great character, but he's relatively simple. He's only had, like, 2 appearances, if we, don't count any remakes. Magolor has a lot more story stuff that would make for a more engaging analysis. And his powers with, like, portals and whatnot kind of pair better with, like, the dimensional aspects. So I think there's a lot more potential for, like, a unique choreography for these ones, but again, Marx and Dimentio is great. I just like this.
I was gonna say, in my new ranking video, which I'm trying to get out as soon as I can. I'm still working on it. We had a Luz versus Akko, and I make it a point where it's like, yes, I really like Luz versus but Luz versus Akko is like this for me, right? Like, just barely above the other one. And that's I think how a lot of people would feel about this matchup, where it's like, you see these two characters, you see these two matchups against Dimentio, it's either like this or it's like this.
Yeah,
you can like both. It doesn't, you don't have to, like, make a choice and then burn.
I think your preferred probably comes down to, like, nostalgia and which game you played as a child.
Yeah, just, that's like, honestly what it comes.
Because that's, like, honestly, I feel like the differences between, like, you're going to do something different with Marx as an opponent, and you're going to do something different if it's Dimentio. Like, those specifics are probably what's going to make it as well. The different powers they have, the different back and forth they have, depending on what you like, that's what's going to determine what you want. That's how I feel, at least, even outside of nostalgia.
And I'm probably biased because Return to Dreamland was, like, besides from Kirby Air Ride, it was one of the first Kirby games that kind of really got me into the series, so I have a history with with Magolor, not with Marx. Also, I remember the artifact's name. It's the Master Crown. It is the Master Crown. I am a little ashamed that I forgot it. You can take away my Kirby fan card.
You could have looked it up.
I did look that up, actually. Just so you know.
So, you're going to have to explain to me. I love Demon Slayer, but this is making me think that I don't know Resident Evil. You're going to have to explain to me why you like this one.
I am a Resident Evil MF. I will be real. I do not like Demon Slayer, so I haven't looked into it a lot, but I do.
It's so good.
Okay, look, we're not going to get into my opinions on Demon Slayer today, okay? I'm not going to do that.
That's okay.
But I don't get it. Like, I know parts of Muzan, but, like, I don't get it. Like,
Zoro, help us. You're the one that reacted to this one.
Alright, so I just kind of like the aesthetic of it, because I haven't seen much of Demon Slayer, but from what I know, like, Albert Wesker, he kind of, like, does the experiments, and I think, oh gosh, what's this guy's name? The Demon Slayer guy?
Muzan.
Muzan. As far as I know, I think he does, like, a similar thing in, like, with his demons, so It's just more about like these mad megalomaniacs who like who create like their own virus creatures in order to sustain power. And I don't know. I recognize the characters, and I reacted mostly because of that. Because, you're just like, okay, do you guys have something to say? And I'm like, oh, I know Albert Wesker, and I know, I recognize this guy from Demon Slayer. So, like, this is, like, just...
Go, sorry. I'm looking for the comment that describes this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could help explain it more. I just kind of looked at it, and I'm like, oh, hey, this looks like a neat matchup. Like, I don't know. I just think it's neat.
What is Wesker's most popular one, if I may ask?
Liquid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Liquid Snake from... Oh, that's actually really good. For some reason, I thought it was Kazuya.
Wesker versus Kazuya was popular, but then, like, I think people realized that it has, like, no fight dynamic, and it's a massive stomp, and then people were like, nah.
So I found it. Let me read the at least the first part of this out loud. They're both cold, ruthless, and exceptionally intelligent. These two once mortal men see humanity as weak and create an infection that would turn humans into the common monsters of the series. Both wish to become the pinnacle of their kind while wiping out humanity, even if their final forms are rather monstrous, and yet, funnily enough... Oh, what? That's different. And yet, funnily enough, Muzan despises change while Wesker views evolution as a necessity that he will bring about. And consider their ego. I can see some really great dialogue coming from this fact. So there is a lot of connections there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I guess, but...
Yeah, like, I would love to do this episode just because, like, it definitely sounds like these characters would work well, especially since they're so similar yet have different ideologies.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to give, like, my honest opinion, I'm not really a big fan of this. If we had the choice between
all the ones we talked about today, I will also, because I know I'm deleting your explanations, there's going to be a pinned comment at the top of this after it's published, and I'm going to have each matchup listed with the descriptions that each person gave me. So if anyone ever had a question on they didn't go into the after the fact that couldn't be here, I'll have that in the description for you guys in a pinned post. But continue.
Yeah, I'm not really that big a fan of this. Like, I don't think that the fight dynamic is all that great, because I don't really see, like, Wesker's gunplay or militaristic fighting styles playing well off of, like, a Demon Slayer character, nor do I really view, like, the Ouroboros stuff really meshing well. Like, if we had the choice of what a Wesker matchup we're going to pick, I'm going to pick Liquid Snake every single day because, like, I'm a big Metal Gear Solid motherfucker.
Isn't that a great thing, though? Is that we don't choose the matchups we do. Remember that.
Yeah.
For the most part.
For the most part, yeah, I know. It's okay.
Like, for our own personal pitches.
The riffraff can't know about that.
Well, I was just saying, like, if we do a personal pitch, then we just narrow, like, one of these four will be it. So, like...
Yeah, I get it. I know.
Chaos versus Zomboss.
I kind of get it.
Yeah. Like, I get it, especially since some of the earlier titles, not really earlier titles, but, like, Chaos has, like, the Doomlanders and, like, Skylander Imaginators, and then the dark version of existing Skylanders in the first game. So I could see this being, like, a cool army fight between Chaos's forces and, the zombies from Plants vs. Zombies. Although I think we're kind of in agreement that, there is a better Chaos matchup.
Yeah. Like, Zomboss would definitely give, like, some fun dialogue potential, but I don't really... And actually, there is kind of a cool dynamic where it could be, like, science versus magic. But, yeah, I don't... Purvis, post the bold SpongeBob gif in chat.
Wait, what?
What?
Somebody said Plyman is friends if interrupting each other was a class. Yes! We're succeeding!
Yes.
I like this one. But they both have very popular alts. But I will be the weird one and say that this plays more into their army dynamic better than the other one, which we'll talk about in a second.
Ooh.
Yeah. But yeah. I'd be down with this one. It'd be fun.
Sorry, when I think of Kaos versus Vortech, I don't really think of the army fight. I think of what they can do individually. When I think of this fight, I think of what their armies can do. I know Vortech has an army, but that's not what I think about when I think of the match. Also, there's a lot more similar factors for these two armies than there is Vortex's army. IMO. Speaking of,
hey, one of mine.
Oh, cool. I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah, this is one of my most wanted matchups. I think that Kaos and Vortech play off each other really well as like going into the whole like crossing dimension dynamic of both Skylanders and Lego Dimensions. I also have a hell of a lot of nostalgia considering the fact I have blown, and I have calculated this. I have spent like $200 on Skylanders.
that's
So
crazy.
like over 200. I think it might be closer to like 300. Not even including games, portals, or even any of the Skylanders that came in like packages. Just with buying specific Skylanders, I've spent like so much money on this thing.
Rookie numbers, my friend. Rookie numbers.
Oh, rookie numbers. But
Some people would pay $500 just for one Skylander.
Yeah, the secondhand market for those things are insane. Like I recently got back into Imaginators and like trying to track down like a few of them for a decent price. It's just been like, are you guys insane?
Yeah, I remember back in quarantine when everyone was losing their mind being inside. I started getting into Skylander collections. I didn't buy too many, but like it was not a fun secondhand market. Like, not fun. I saw like Chaos figures going for like $200. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I think Robo like goes for like near 1,000 these days.
God.
Ooh, yeah. Like,
And
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, this is a cool matchup. I like it a lot. It goes a lot into like the Toys to Life aspect. But another cool contrast here is like Chaos is doing everything for Chaos, while Vortech is searching for order. So that's a really cool dynamic you can play up in the fight.
Also, another matchup that Fan Battle did, by the way.
Yeah.
And although I disagree with the result, it's okay. I'm not going to say what that result is. You're going to have to find it yourself.
Well, that would gives a little points in favor of us tackling this at some point, especially if there's like contention over the Fan Battle result. It would definitely give our take on it its own identity, so that it's not just like a Maleficent versus Jafar, where it's like, oh yeah, like they already nailed it. So you know, there's room for differentiation for this matchup.
Yeah, and our boy Carrick, also working with us on an episode, voiced Vortech. Carrick is Raccoon Bro, if you guys don't know.
Nice.
So hey, another person I networked with.
Yeah. I mean,
I swear, every time Fan Battle gets mentioned, you're like, ooh, you remember this episode? We got one of the voice actors from it for our show.
To be fair,
look at how cool we are.
To be fair, Raccoon Bro was talked to by me way beforehand, so I didn't
Plus, it's not like taking a voice actor from another show is like a bad thing, just because voice actors will constantly take gigs from a variety of places. So it's not like we're monopolizing the flippin' Death Battle-esque versus show voice actor pool. We're just offering them more work.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, we're the good guys in this situation. You can't hate us.
In the contracts we sign, I make sure they know you cannot work for Noah Fan Battle anymore. That's it. Your mind.
Oh shit! I didn't realize we were doing that. Holy crap! Maybe we should go back to reconsider that Devil versus Snatcher fight.
How do you guys feel?
Why? I'm sorry, but why?
They both took over their worlds. Just saying.
Wait, hold
Okay.
on. I'm gonna do my shitty ass Plankton impression, okay? Give me the okay, fuck it.
Fucked up.
Okay, I couldn't keep it together. Alright, but what the fuck? What am I looking at here?
I thought I don't know, and I never want to like, yuck someone's yum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I saw this and it put a smile on my face, so I had to add it. It's so silly. I'm pretty sure the size difference. I know you can argue kaijus being the same size. I don't know if you can argue Plankton being the same size as Eggman, because look at them and look where they're from.
Okay, to give Plankton the benefit of the doubt, usually when he's in crossovers, they give him like his Plankton bot. Like in Nick All-Stars Brawl 2, he's a heavyweight character because like it's not Plankton himself fighting. He has like the Plankton bot fighting for him. So that could be a very simple way of like sidestepping the size issue. But on the same time, like I just think Plankton and Eggman would have better matchups with other people. Like they're both kind of mad scientists, but there are so many mad scientists in media that I know Eggman could, like, it would be cool to see him clash with any other video game mad scientist, like Cortex, flippin', oh gosh, what's the guy from Ratchet and Clank?
Nefarious.
Yeah,
Nefarious.
Nefarious, like Cortex, Nefarious, like, those would be more thematic than, like, the Plankton trying to steal a burger.
Yeah.
Tsurugi says, "Give me the secret formula, or I will destroy the Eggman Empire." That's crazy.
Give me the secret formula, or I'll destroy the Eggman Empire!
Oh yeah, Tana says, "Why not just do adventures with Sonic the
Give me
Hedgehog,
the fucking
Eggman?"
formula, crabs.
Okay, now I
AOTH
can't.
Eggman would probably be a better opponent.
I thought of something even sillier. If this was an army fight between the Badniks and then all of Plankton's flippin' relatives.
What are
You
they
and
supposed
what
to do?
army?
They're grass. Like, what?
gotta-
Sacrifice
You planted
Plankton
grass?
on his way to sacrifice 5 members of his family to take down a Motobug.
That's crazy. Daria said, "I'm actually interested in Eggman versus Griffith. I found out recently that everyone got it wrong. Everyone thought that it was Archie Eggman versus Griffith, but it's not. It's the
It's Fleetway.
Fleetway Eggman versus Griffith." And I was like, I don't know anything about Fleetway, but that sounds a little more interesting at least.
Yeah, I haven't read too many of the Fleetway comics, but I have read enough, and like there is actually an arc within Fleetway where like Eggman becomes a god. So like you could compare that to Femto, I guess. Still weird. Actually, once when we figured out it was Fleetway and not Archie, for Fan Battle Cast, the guy who was going to be debating for Archie Eggman, didn't want to do it anymore because he didn't know Fleetway in the slightest. So I'm actually debating for him now, which is neat.
Hey, nice. So yeah, stay tuned for that whenever it happens.
Yeah, whenever. Oh, okay. Bill Cipher Flowey.
I
think
you.
this just goes. Forgive me for I know little of Bill Cipher as a character. I just know his power set very well. I think the most of it is the reality warping aspect, but for me, being Death Battle brain rotted, I'm pretty sure Bill Cipher is on a higher dimensional plane, and Flowey knows he's a video game character. So
yeah.
I feel like you're a game, and you exist on a plane I can't even fathom.
Yeah, actually, Bill also knows he is a fictional character because thanks to the Book of Bill, he actually is like writing a book in order to like sort of project his story into somebody else. And then by reading it, you would basically be signing a contract saying they give your soul over to him, so then he could take over his body and escape the prison he's found himself in because of the axolotl thing he said at the end of Gravity Falls. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Hold on a
Yeah,
second.
like,
maybe
see.
maybe I'm cooking a little bit. Hold on. Maybe I'm cooking a little bit. This is the only matchup I've seen that would play more into Flowey's going into the Photoshop form than the Azrael form. Hold up.
Yeah, honestly. I think that for a Flowey fight, his final form should be like Azrael, but like for Bill Cipher, the final form would be Photoshop.
Yeah. I feel like that would fit with more the terror aesthetic of Bill. So Bill's going through all of his like giant like 3D forms and he's fighting the giant Flowey form. Hold on. I'm starting to get something here. I'm tasting something.
There's
I see the potential.
Here.
Flowey has so many other unique opponents that I'd rather tackle that, since Bill versus Discord kind of already captured everything I'd want in a Bill Cipher episode, so I'd want to show some love to some of Flowey's other opponents.
Kind of like...
Yeah.
Oh, did I forget to put it in?
Wait.
Never mind. I must have forgot to put it in.
Oops.
Or
whoopsie daisy.
So don't mention it yet, because it might be later.
Okay.
Maybe I just didn't put it where I wanted.
Alright. Anyways, Gurren Lagann. One of my favorite TV shows of all time, and it's against Digimon, which I know nothing about. Wonderful.
Excuse me?
Tristan,
I added this partly because you were like, hey, I know a lot about Gurren Lagann.
I do. I know a lot about Gurren Lagann. I don't know anything about Digimon. That's why you two are
that's
here.
what I said. Okay. So Apocalymon depends on if you're using the anime version or the video game version. For a fight like this, if you wanted to be more fair, you can use the video game version. But my knowledge mostly comes from the anime. Apocalymon is the final boss, essentially, the original Digimon Adventure show. He was the one who, if anyone saw the Cell versus Diaboromon fan battle cast, he was the one that created a void that was swallowing up the whole digital world and every other realm within it, like just erasing everything. And that included the Digidestineds at the time, literally like disintegrating them into data, because I think the digital world, they were considered data. Disintegrating them, and where their consciousness was floating within a white void, and the only reason they were able to like stop themselves from getting erased was because of the power of the Digivices, right? The little things that make their Digimon digivolve. They're actually very powerful devices even outside of that, like being able to contain universe-spanning explosions and big bangs and shit like that, right? So I think that's kind of the connection, is that these two people essentially can look at multiple realities, multiple universes, and just wipe them out. And they're both kind of like nihilistic, like, I'm going to control the narrative type people.
I don't know. Okay, so let me explain the anti-spiral. So
also, anti-spiral wins. I'm just saying. He just does. I apologize. Digimon is high in scaling, but anti-spiral blocks him up.
Yeah, like the anti-spiral has similar regeneration to Simone, and so like informational regeneration for at least a week. Digimon's busted, but like I don't think they're teching that. But yeah, so the main thing going on with the anti-spiral is that it's actually not a person, it's a species. What's going on with the anti-spiral is that they were originally beings of spiral. However, they looked at how evolution was going about, how everything was going to be turning out, and then they saw it, and then they thought, this is not good. If we continue doing this, people are eventually going to evolve into becoming giant galaxies, which is eventually going to create a giant black hole which consumes everything, destroying the universe. They believe that follow the evolution of the spiral, or that any being follows the evolution of the spiral, it's eventually going to bring about the mass destruction of the universe, known that they have deemed the spiral nemesis. So they declared war on all the spiral beings, and they won. So then they forced everyone down into the mines, which then eventually leads to the main thing with Gurren Lagann, where Simon breaks out of the underground, and then he starts fighting against it, leading to humans becoming the dominant species. Then they eventually continue evolving until the anti-spiral take notice of this and decide to try and put a stop to him. That's the basic anti-spiral goal. They want to make sure that that everything is going to keep living forever, but in order to do that, they need to stagnate everything, believing that they know best and that they should impose all of their will on everyone. That is the main goal of the anti-spiral. What's going on with them? It's weird, yes, but Gurren Lagann's very high concept. So, yeah.
I think we can actually get Apocalymon. Why do I hear myself?
It's Dark War. It's not me.
Yeah, don't worry.
I think it's distracting the shit out of me. I can't talk. I think can be closer than it is if you try to use the video games for Apocalymon. I think that's the only way you can really make this closer in scale. Because you start adding in the games, you start getting into infinite universal feats and stuff like that, right? The animes don't have anything like that, as far as I know. But I think it would be actually really interesting after hearing a little bit about the anti-spiral, this fight specifically. I will say they also have anti-spiral versus anti-monitor, but I'm pretty sure they confirmed a winner when they compared Kyle and Simon to anti-spiral and anti-monitor recently. So
actually, anti-monitor kind of annihilates anti-spiral. Like,
really?
Yeah. Notable thing with Simon being able to be Kyle is that Simon's able to rapidly evolve in order to basically overtake anything that Kyle could create, or any advantages that Kyle has. Simon's eventually going to snowball into adapting over it. The anti-spiral doesn't have that because, remember, they specifically stop their own evolution in order to stagnate themselves, which means that they're constantly stuck at 11D compared to
So either way, this one's still better. Let's go, Bam. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm not typically the biggest fan of big apocalyptic herald fights, but as far as they go, I'm definitely interested in seeing this one play out.
Yeah. Honestly, my preferred for the anti-spiral is Yaldabaoth from Persona 5. But
we got switch. I can't hear you go about Persona.
Yeah.
I know how
okay, so you don't want to hear about Persona, but you'll bring up.
We cannot talk about Gurren Lagann and Persona in the same conversation. The stream will never end.
Bro, I'll have to interrupt you at that point. I just added this because I wanted to compare it. I put it out of order because I'm silly and stupid. I did the same thing last week. We can kind of quickly go through this because I think it's interesting. Flowey versus Giygas. It's kind of hard to cover Giygas. I don't know how many people here have played Mother, or Mother and Mother 2. Giygas is fundamentally different in both games. And you can't really create an animation where it's linked just because of the way Giygas is. You know what I mean by that? Because he's like that alien Mewtwo-ish form in the first game, and he has speaking lines and all that, and he's this nightmarish, fetus looking.
He's the background in the second game.
So I don't know how that would display, but I get it here. In terms of these things are, I don't know if Giygas is necessarily the same level of reality warping as Flowey. But he's so powerful that essentially, unless it's a glitch in the Game Boy version of Earthbound or Mother 2, he can't really die without prayer, which actually, now that I think about it, is kind of similar to Flowey, how you beat him.
Yeah.
How the people... No, hold on. I'm cooking again. But who can realistically die first, was my question now. I think Flowey can die. No, because Flowey can just reload save points.
Well, here's my theory on how it would go down, because, you know, if both of these guys go down just by reaching out to people, Giygas gets defeated because he's so detached from, like, human emotion that the prayer and positivity is what does him in. Flowey is the way he is because he canonically has went through the game of Undertale so many times that he lost all feeling. So within his save points, he'd probably realize, oh, I need to play pure pacifist for this route. And he'd have no trouble kind of like going through the motions of being a pacifist if it means taking down Giygas. Like, he has the player mindset to, like, take him down.
I thought that Flowey lost his emotions because he's completely soulless. And everything he was doing was just kind of like, he was just doing it to do it. There was really no motive behind it. Which is why he was able to do such horrible things. So I don't think he lost it from that, necessarily.
Okay, I got that detail wrong, but he has also stated, like, oh yeah, I went through the couple games, I've tried helping people, I got curious, I wanted to start killing people, like, nothing could make me feel again. I sorry for getting the detail wrong, but, like, it doesn't change, like, my overall...
You don't have to apologize, I'm just trying to because I could be misunderstanding as well, you know what I mean? Which would look bad on me, but that's okay.
Yeah, like...
But yeah. You go.
But yeah, like, Flowey has stated, like, yeah, I used to have determination, so he went through a bunch of different routes, and he's like, oh yeah, watch out for Sans. Like, so he experimented to the point where Sans has stepped in before.
Oh yeah, because he really hates Sans. That's right.
Yeah, so, like, it's reasonable to assume that with his experience going through... that, you know, he would be able to figure out, okay, I get your gimmick, and then be able to start praying, or at least reaching out to the other souls in order to, like, just for the sake of killing Giygas.
Tana said, the fan art looks nothing like Giygas. It's literally just the tip of his head from his first form, like the little slithery form. They just drew the tip of his head.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I think... There's alts I like for both of these, but I think this one could be interesting based on that one fact of prayer and asking for support to win, to like overload it.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is one of my submissions.
I know. Technically, I broke this rule. By the way, I had told someone in the comments, not to pick characters. They both had to be final boss characters, but I didn't realize until right before this that Fear Bradley was not a final boss, so apologies.
I mean, he's technically a final boss for Scar, so...
like, he's somebody's boss.
He's closer to our final boss in the 2003 version, so it kinda counts.
Talking about Dante?
Yeah.
Dante doesn't really get a fight. She, like, tries to run away in an elevator, and then Gluttony eats her. At least him, as Pride in that series, gets to have a climactic showdown with Roy Mustang before he goes out.
Yeah. I think this one's cool. It's like...
Yeah.
And I know Dark Lord's been MGS brained recently.
Yeah, I've been talking about this matchup a lot recently.
So go off.
Okay,
go off, King.
So chat, I'm about to perform the impossible. I am going to talk about this matchup in words beyond just it's cool. Okay, so basically it's like just leaders of their own nations who were actually puppet leaders or actually just like puppets for shadow governments. However, one of the main things that I really like about this is the ideologies that both Bradley and Solidus have within their own, have about their own lives and how they view themselves. So Solidus, he is incredibly scared of being forgotten by history because he views that the main goal of every single person is to pass on their genes to their children, which is incredibly interesting. However, he as a clone of Big Boss, he does not have any reproductive organs, so he can't pass on his genes, which means he's eventually going to be forgotten. And he is terrified of this, so he's doing the entire thing within Metal Gear Solid 2, trying to expose the Patriots, trying to doing a terrorism. He's doing all of this in order to make sure he is not forgotten by the history books. While Bradley, he is just incredibly nihilistic about his life. He views that every single choice has ever been made for him. He's just going to keep doing what he's told because that's what his life has always been. And nihilistically just doing everything. Which is incredibly interesting because then throughout the fight, you can have Bradley and Solidus talking about these ideologies and how Solidus doesn't want to be forgotten, while Bradley doesn't care about anything or if he's forgotten, which eventually leads to the final confrontation when, you can hear Solidus where, sorry, this matchup is not exactly easy to talk about because it's just very straightforward. It's just a cool sword fight, but there's a lot of really cool ideological parallels between the two that we can definitely explore within a fight between them.
How do these two have the same exact hair? And I'm talking like even the little like dangling piece of hair coming out the middle. How the if they had the same hair color, I think we would lose track of who's in the animation. Not gonna lie.
And an eye patch on the same side of the eye.
And they even have the same fucking mustache.
Like
Solidus is just like, older Bradley.
That's crazy. Alternate timeline.
This is my preferred for both. Like the connections are strong, their movesets are strong. Like just watching a sword fight while they wax poetics about their own differing philosophies is always something I'm going to be down for. So, yeah.
Yeah, you also get a really tightly choreographed sword fight, which is cool as hell. Like, I really like the idea of both trying to, like, get in the other's blind spot. And they both get around it in different ways. Like, Solidus, he uses like his P90 in order to try and get Bradley off of him, while Bradley just takes off his eye patch to reveal that he's a homunculus and then kick the fight up into next gear.
I think we need to find a way to reference the tank scene in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking it. Yeah, I've been trying to think about how to deal with that. Honestly, something cool you could do is like have Bradley like pull a grenade, get a stick grenade, throw it at Solidus, only for him to grab it, run up, and then just start beating Bradley with the grenade before leaving it with him to blow up. Like, I think that could be fun.
Brutal.
If anyone doesn't know what scene I'm talking about, by the way, in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, there's a scene where a tank is firing and attacking Bradley, and Bradley just dodges everything, shrugs everything off, nothing happens, and the tank starts backing up and running away as Bradley is chasing a tank down the thing, down like stairs, down like meadows and shit, just to try to kill the people inside of it. I'm like, I've never seen a tank retreat from a single man before, but that's great.
Robot just 2 swords to a tank fight and won.
It's crazy.
I love him.
Also, if we were to do this, I would 100% find a way to figure out how to like get a line referencing the fact that Bradley is not Pride in the fight. Like, maybe Solidus says something like, "Have some pride in yourself, damn it," while Bradley just says, "No pride, only wrath." I think that would be cool as hell.
If anyone
that's
know,
a cool
it's
line.
Because Fear of Bradley was Pride in the original show, and then Wrath in the remake show, or I guess the show that's more close to the manga.
Yeah, 2008 is more of representation of the manga. So he started as Wrath, got turned to Pride, finished as Wrath.
Yeah.
This is all you. This is all you.
All right.
I'm only like moving on, by the way, because I'm trying to be done by like 5:10, and I just realized how many more we still have because I started late. But continue.
Oh crap. Okay. Yeah, this is the matchup I was talking about before, where it's just like two guys with a shit ton of stuff just throwing stuff at each other. This is really cool. I really like this. It's the evil versions of well-known protagonists with who have transforming powers. You know, they have. It's pretty simple, but like this is just like they're just doing it like a shit ton of stuff, and it's just like the rawest shit on the planet. Like there's no better way to describe it. This is just an aura of like Ohma has the powers of every single Kamen Rider, while Lord Drakkon has the powers of every single Power Ranger. So you just get to see both of them throwing everything these franchises have at one another. Like you can have a sword fight, you can have an army fight, you can have a big kaiju fight, you can have them fly between planets, you can have them travel through time, you can basically just do whatever you want in this fight because they have so much stuff to be pulling out. I will say though, this would be like horrendous to research because we'd have to watch every single Kamen Rider thing. Because guess what? One of Ohma's powers is he can make anything non-canon canon. So we'd have to research like stage shows.
Excuse me.
He can make non-canon shit canon. Like this is something that Gio unironically did. He summoned forth the manga version of Kuga in order to fight along his side. No, and before you ask, no, this was not Kuga who had the manga design or he had manga colors. A fucking manga panel jumped out of a comic book and then started beating guys up. He could do that.
I'm gonna ask. I'm not gonna put up a poll because there's only 8 people here. I'm gonna ask them this: would anyone be okay if we did a Kamen Rider themed cast like this? I saw Tana said that we should, but I'm curious how many people here would be down for that because I wouldn't have much to add, but Dark Lore definitely does. I think Saul knows some Kamen Rider as well, so we can get Saul on here. And we can gush for a while.
Yeah, I know a lot about Kamen Rider. Zora died. Okay, whatever.
Zora was like, Kamen Rider, fuck that, I'm gone.
But yeah, like, there's so much stuff that you can do with this matchup. Like, I really love the idea of them both just, like, summoning forth every single Power Ranger and every single Kamen Rider just to go into, like, a giant fight. And then you just see them... And then you just see both fist fighting within the giant army. Just, like, nothing matters. Or, hell, you can even have them, like, get separated from each other partway through, and then you just see them, like, tear through, like, different Power Rangers and Kamen Riders, just trying to get to the other in order to kill them. Like, I think this would be cool as shit. And also the fight ending with, like, Ohma stealing all of Drakkon's powers, and then just aging him to dust as he watches his empire fall before him is just the coolest thing on the planet. Like, yo,
you kind of just sold me on this, not gonna lie. Also,
yeah, you can do anything. Like, you can have Drakkon summon forth a Megazord in order to just start stomping through the army, and Ohma's response is just to scoff, turn giant, and then say, "I don't need any mechanical monstrosities to take you down." As then you just see them duking it out as a giant glowing Buddhist, like giant glowing guy and a giant robot. It's just the coolest shit on the planet. You just think, what is the coolest thing I can do at this very moment? And then you just do it. Because it's fucking Drakkon and Ohma. These two do not give a fuck.
I was gonna say, I also want to point out that we are doing a Kamen Rider episode of the show once we start getting it going. Shinra Kusakabe versus Kamen Rider Cross Z.
Yes, that was.
I will be learning some Kamen Rider fairly soon.
Yeah, it's an incredibly interesting franchise, and like it just has no versus analysis. It's tragic.
It is really sad.
Yeah.
I am sorry for dipping out. My Wi-Fi has crashed. I'm on my phone right now, so apologies for the audio if it's a little messed up.
I actually think it's better somehow.
Yeah, you should be ashamed, by the way. I just went on a massive ramble about Drakkon versus Ohma, and I was cooking.
Well, now he gets to talk because it's his matchup now. Rayquaza versus Fatalis?
Yep, Rayquaza from Pokemon versus Fatalis from Monster Hunter. Alright, it's my turn to go on a little rant. I'm going to try to fix my computer Wi-Fi soon, but yeah.
Alright, wake me up when the interesting matchups come out.
Oh, come on, I didn't do that for your matchup. Shame. Anyway, so the reason why I really like this matchup is that, Death Battle has a lot of cool kaiju fights, but we haven't really had a cool dragon fight. And sometimes you just want to watch dragons fight each other. And for this reason, this is why I like this matchup. But they also have some pretty good parallels. Rayquaza, being in Pokemon, he's kind of depicted as like this benevolent dragon. Like he's there to be mankind's protectors. Whenever Kyogre Groudon are fighting over the Xbox, he's always there to put them, settle the argument and make sure they don't destroy the planet just by existing near each other. And, whenever Giygas decides to go near space, he is always in the front line to send his ass back into space. Well, Fatalis is kind of like the opposite. This is a dragon that is known for its legendary strength, but actively hates humanity. He goes out of his way to find human kingdoms and completely destroy them out of like this pure thing. And it's also a very sadistic dragon. He will go out of his way to burn hunters that fail to hunt him into his armor slowly and meticulously, just to build up his own armor, but also to torture those that try to hunt him. Like, he just hates humanity. So it'd be an interesting fight to see a dragon who protects people versus one who, them. One other thing I just really like is that both of them have an upgraded form, with Fatalis being Meteor Fatalis in one of the Monster Hunter games, and Rayquaza being Mega Rayquaza. And one of the things Mega Rayquaza is known for is destroying meteors. So how cool would it be to see Fatalis go into his meteor form, drop a meteor on normal Rayquaza, only for him to Mega Evolve, use Dragon's Ascent, and just fly straight towards it, into one great clash. Like, that scene alone is worth, like, the hype for this matchup for me.
So it's kind of similar parallels to the Fatalis versus Gamera.
Yeah, kind of.
So it's
I just
protected, but this time they're both dragons.
Yeah. Plus, like, I really like Rayquaza, so, like, this is, I think, is the best Rayquaza matchup.
Someone says, so basically Beerus versus Arceus, but dragon. Beerus versus Arceus, but the debate isn't an absolute gobstomp.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
You'll be right back. It's your matchups.
Alright, I'm back on my computer.
Oh, that was quick.
This
matchup.
Yeah, it was good. It's good that you're back on your computer, because while you were on your phone, it kind of sounded like you were a robot.
Yeah, you were dipping in and out a little bit. I got the gist of what you were saying, though.
Yeah. So, sorry again for the thing. My Wi-Fi's been weird, but now I can talk about my other matchup. I know I've just been talking straight, so I'll give you guys a chance to talk in case you have something to say.
You go first, because I have no idea. I don't know that much.
I like Zamasu, but I have I know very little about Terumi.
Also,
All
I'm
right,
pretty
so-
sure the thumbnail is wrong because I don't think people mean fuse Zamasu for this fight, but
Well, my version they would upgrade to this one because basically what I like about Zamasu versus Yuki Terumi is that they are both like very godly beings who, because of the way their godly pantheon or hierarchy works, kind of puts them in a position where they are, basically.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
What?
Zoro?
Sora. Please don't leave us talking about this matchup. I don't know what to say.
He didn't give me a description. I can't read it.
No. Damn it.
Fuck. Well, let's we'll come back and talk about this. All right.
We'll put a pin in this.
Ah, fuck. Do you have anything
No,
to
this
say?
was the next Zoro. Oh god. Oh no.
I can say something about this as a huge Hollow Knight fan. If anyone seen my banner, there's only one serious matchup on it, and it's Ori versus the Knight. It's one of my most wanted fights.
Yeah, same here. It's like my third most wanted.
The guy on the left is, oh my god, what the hell are they called?
It's Zero Mark II from Kirby, I think.
02 is the one on the right. The one on the left is the... Oh my god, I feel so stupid.
Absolute Radiance?
Yeah, the Absolute Radiance. So maybe you can fill me in on a little bit of 02. But Absolute Radiance is the final creature in Hollow Knight. It's the thing that is maintaining the infection upon their world and fucking it up. It exists on a different plane of existence than the normal world.
What the heck is going on with my Wi-Fi today?
Please don't leave us.
I'm back.
We didn't know what to talk about with Zamasu versus Terumi.
We'll go back.
Oh, shit.
Sinestro opponents.
Alright, I think my internet is stable for now.
Okay.
That's what you said last time.
We've gone to my next one.
Let's move on, and then we'll double back to Zamasu versus Griffith, or whatever that guy... Terumi.
Yuki Terumi. Wrong
that
anime.
Fuck.
Alright.
Blaze Blue isn't an anime. It's a fighting game.
Didn't it get an anime adaptation at some point?
I think it did, but like it was a fighting game first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, one reason I don't know how much you guys have talked about this matchup yet.
I was just giving the lowdown about the Absolute Radiance.
Alright, so yeah. Absolute Radiance is basically the light that corrupts their society. That basically because they stopped worshipping it as their main patron, so they got angry and decided to turn everyone into a mindless hive mind. And ReZero kind of does a similar thing, but with darkness, especially in Kirby 64. The Crystal Shards one.
ReZero? I think you meant 02.
Did I say ReZero? I meant 02. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. I'm panicking because I know we're running out of time and
You're
I
good,
keep cutting
good.
in and out. But yeah. Oh fuck! I thought that was mine again.
No, that was me. Your bad internet is starting to kill me.
But yeah.
Anyway, low down.
But yeah. 02 uses darkness to basically shatter the the main crystal protecting this one planet, and
The
he
crystal
has
heart,
this habit of possessing people with darkness, being a form of dark matter. He likes possessing people with the darkness. So the one reason I really like this one is it's a big Eldritch Abomination fight. Herald's not something I usually like, but I like this one just because they're the same, but two sides of the same coin. We have the corrupting light trying to bring all to their knees, while we have also the corrupting darkness that possesses people just for the end of destroying everything and causing chaos. So it'd be very interesting. I could see this as an army fight where they just try to possess people, but I could also see it as just 02 invading the Radiance's dreamscape and them just having an all-out war within that area.
Somebody said running out of time. Time mention.
Time, huh?
Bye.
Thanks for the tip.
Can't escape it.
I think this is very interesting. I think it kind of has similar parallels to Ori versus the Knight. A little bit.
You know, it kind of does.
In terms of
Like,
being of light versus being of darkness, that the being of darkness destroying the light, the being of light destroying the darkness.
Yeah, kind of like different side of the same coin.
Yeah.
Because like,
But
Just
then
like-
then you get absolute radiant scaling, and I don't know because it's the highest scaling as far as I know in Hollow Knight, because it kind of exists on a different plane of existence.
Yeah, I guess that this
Yeah.
is a question that is probably relevant. Like, would you take the Radiance at like their peak, or would you take it at the point where we see them in game?
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's a good argument because, like, in one of, because, like, yeah, there's the absolute radiance in the boss rush, and some people might say, well, that's not canon, but there is an ending if you beat absolute radiance. Like, there are actual canon endings for it, so I think you would do absolute radiance versus.
well, no, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, would you take the Radiance like when they're at the peak of popularity, when people like them, before they're weakened due to the White King, or would you take them at the point where they have been weakened, like even if it's just absolute radiance? Because being real, I don't think the absolute radiance scales to like the peak of the radiance, but whatever.
I wouldn't take it as peak. I'd do it as we see it in game, especially since thematically, 0-2 is like the remnants of the original Zero/Dark Matter after Kirby flippin' destroys it. Like, you can even see, like, in this image, there's a small bandage on its head from when Kirby flippin' ripped out its eye during, like, you know, Return to Dreamland 3. So, like, both of them are actually weakened versions of their peak form, so that just adds the connections.
Just to say, by
nice.
the way, if we have character like Radiance, we're gonna have to do the dreaded shit that every Death Battle fan hates and look at the lore of the game to scale their potential full power. Just so you know.
I was actually on a blog that like researched. I was actually on a Ori Night blog a little bit ago, and basically Radiance is like town. It's like kind of tragic, honestly.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, but
Yeah,
I would
like,
have to research it to know for sure.
Yeah, like, lore scaling can be scary, but for both of these characters, you kind of need it for both of them. So I think under that case, like, you know, if both's getting it, then it's not like we're, like, using lore scaling to give one special treatment or anything.
Somebody said, "Is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
Hollow Knight bug
I'm
size?"
mainly asking because the reason why I was asking the question before is like, would you take the Radiance at their like peak, or would you take it in the weakened state? Because like the Radiance being weakened is like points against Uni Hollow Knight, because I don't believe in Uni Hollow Knight. I think it has way too many problems with it, but
I don't believe in
Yeah.
Unite either, just to be fair. I just don't think wall level Radiance makes much sense. Somebody said,
Yeah.
isn't Hollow Knight bug
okay,
size?
it's not
But,
wall, it's town, but like
Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Somebody said, isn't Hollow Knight bug size? I don't think there's any actual proof other than the fact that they're called bugs. You don't see any objects within the world that would look bigger, depending on the size of them being really small, like you would in other games.
Actually, no, there is evidence against them being bug-sized because, remember in the Crying City where there's rain because of the lake above, due to tension size, the raindrops can only be so small, and yet they're, like, tiny compared to the bugs. So, like,
that's
I
true.
Yeah,
think that like, Hollow Knight characters are, like, 2 feet tall.
but I think, in contrast to that, I think in one of the prequel comics with, like, Quill and flippin' Hornet, they do see them walking through, like, a grassy field, but, like, the grass is, like, the size of a forest, so... that might be a point against it, but I will also argue that you mainly fight Radiant within the Dream Realm. So if we frame the fight as like 0-2 invading the Dream Realm, then it's more of a mental battle, so we can fudge the size to whatever we need to make a cool fight.
Well, I mean, isn't Kirby also like canonically 8 inches tall? So.
Oh yeah, they're both tiny. So yeah, this a tiny fight. This. Okay, now I'm just imagining just a random guy just walking down, like, a road and just seeing, like, a flippin' mini galaxy with little explosions as these two are just flying around like flies, just shooting Kamehameha.
Just watching a moth and a eyeball flying around, just
like,
staring at each other and throwing small attacks.
Darius said, in my opinion, using lore is fine. My issue tends to be when they lie about the lore.
True.
That's true. Anyway, we can kind of rush past this one. This is the one Chris submitted, or the guy that made the Game Over remix. He did this just as a joke, so feel free.
Oh, I can rip on this? I don't have to be nice?
Nope, you don't have to.
Oh, thank God. I fucking hate the... Okay, like...
I see the potential in this one, not gonna lie.
Okay, there's, like, thematic parallels, but, like, the fight dynamic is just not good. Because it's, like, military women versus I have magic.
To be fair, Masked Man is a military man.
Yeah, he's been military brainwashed.
Yeah.
And, you know, but, like, they both have, like, the face heel turn at the end, betraying their military organizations. But, like, I think Masked Man easily takes this just because, like, Earthbound scaling versus relatively, you know, military level
Metal
commander.
Gear.
But like Metal Gear scaling is higher than real world scaling, mind you.
I mean, yeah, but like it's still relatively based in it, and I don't think Boss is like near the heights of like Metal Gear scaling. Like we don't really see her doing any of the stuff like riding, cutting up Metal Gears or anything crazy like that.
Well, I mean, she should still be comparable to, like, the normal people or, like, stuff that happened in Metal Gear Solid, which is, like, Snake who can dodge bullets.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
but
there is an argument that, you know...
Klaus is literally going around the world and pulling out needles to reset the entire universe. I think they run on fundamentally different scales.
Logic. Yeah.
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 But I think the parallels are kind of neat. I just wouldn't want to see... Oh, sorry, I just spoiled the game. I just wouldn't want to see Masked Man. Like, I would want to see him against someone else. Someone that's a little more fun fight dynamic-wise. I put this here as a complete joke, which is why I'm fine ripping on it a little bit. But,
yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
My personal preferred for Masked Man is Sho Kusakabe from Fire Force. I think that's really cool, and it's got a really fun fight.
Actually, I was skipping by it because I heard Kusakabe from Fire Force, and I was like, no, I can't get into this right now. But that's actually really interesting. I actually really like that, and the scaling on that series and his specific ability to halt time would work really well against the Masked Man's arsenal.
Yeah, it's also got really cool connections about brothers being kidnapped and like kind of like brainwashed into cults in order to try and like destroy the universe. Like that's really cool.
This is the last one. Emperor Doofenshmirtz versus Emperor Nefarious, or whatever this Doofenshmirtz is called.
I think they just called him alternate Doof or whatever.
Yeah, he's just they just call him the other Doof.
This one I really like. There's probably not much you could do with it because one only has one game and one only has one movie. But being the alternate versions of goofballs that fail at everything they do, these alternate universe versions taking over their whole world and like subjugating it, not even just like taking control of tri-state area or taking control of one world. Like their universes are essentially being subjugated. That you have to have rebel forces come out and try to fight back against them.
Oh yeah, like. I love the parallels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, Doof does come back in, like... Alt Doof does come back in, like, one episode of TV and then doesn't reappear again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to get like some backdoor pilot to have a TV show about like the alternate universe or whatever, but it like did not pan out.
Yeah.
The episode wasn't that good anyways.
That's okay.
Although
does anyone here think Doof wins?
I don't know enough. I'm not really familiar with like the alternate Nefarious, but I don't under the sole fact that flippin' alternate Doof folds if you give him a toy train.
Yeah, but Nefarious ain't gonna do that. What?
That's the climax
Phineas
of the movie.
and Ferb does actually have some like cracked scaling. Like, I think they have arguments for like universal type shit, but like,
I do not believe universal Phineas and Ferb.
Okay, fine then, take Star, whatever. But like, it's not stacking up to like Ratchet and Clank stuff, but like, you know,
like it's cool. A stomp, but it'd be a fun stomp.
Yeah, it is.
Is that my last one?
Yeah. So can we double back on the one that I died in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So yeah.
Wait, no. The ending of the fight is that Doof gets hit by a train. Bam.
Love it. But yeah, I guess going back to like Yuki, Terumi, and Zamasu for a hot second, I just kind of really like it because they're big villains that play 5D chess, and you know, I would give like fused Zamasu and like Susanoo basically just because it's like both of the climaxes of their stories is them fusing with another version of themselves in order to become basically their true strength. And I think that'd just be a cool way to escalate for both of them, just so we get a good wide range of like everything each character has to offer. It's another. It's like that situation I talked about with Cell, how it's like, you know, in a Cell matchup, I'd want to see all of his forms, not just the final one. So for like Yuki, Terumi, and Zamasu, this would be good matchups just for them to showcase everything they have with each form, not just saying, oh, Goku Black exclusively, or Fused Zamasu exclusively, or Terumi specifically, or Hazama specifically. You kind of get the whole picture for both of them here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this matchup sounds like fun. I think that the main thing is just figuring out how the fuck either of them can die, because like they both really have a problem with staying dead. Like,
yeah, it'd take a lot of work, especially since, you know, you'd have to do Blaze Blue lore scaling. So it would be a pain to research, but like if we were to uptake the task for like Blaze Blue research, this would be a fun matchup, and I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
Very debatable too, then, given all the flippin' space-time bullshit going on.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to think about who would win in a fight because of, well, their immortalities. I'm kind of leaning on Terumi winning, actually. Like, I don't think he has as good stats as Zamasu, but, like, due to the fact that, like, so long as somebody remembers him, he can't die. Like, I think that it's going to be hard for Zamasu to take him out without, like, you know, nuking the entire multiverse, while Terumi in his strongest form, he could just, like, touch Zamasu and then just poof him out of existence. So
yeah, because Susanoo.
What?
Yeah.
Can Zamasu not use Hakai?
No. Zamasu is a Kai. They have like
Hakai,
they're not
like,
destructive.
Because he uses with Goku Black, and Goku can use Hakai.
I don't think he knows how to use it. Like,
I was gonna say
Goku has
his win con because it'll erase him from every timeline if they didn't have the specific win con of having the rings negate that.
Well, I mean, I don't think it, because like people who get hit by Hakai, they still get remembered by people, right? Like,
yeah, like they still knew who Zamasu was when he showed up in the other timeline. And one thing to note about Terumi is that again, Blaze Blue lore. Forgive me if I remember wrong, because that lore is very complex. But as far as I understand, the original purpose of the Susanoo unit was to basically be like a Beerus, a god of destruction, to just kind of control creation. So
yeah, it basically worked as a guard to like this anime girl god thing. Like it's weird, but like he essentially had like originally he had like no concept of a personality. He just kind of like blankly stared out. But then he eventually developed a personality and consciousness, which eventually became Terumi, which then got ejected out of Susanoo, creating the two people, which then eventually the final form is Terumi and Susanoo fusing back together in order to regain their original power of just being able to touch somebody and then remove them from reality.
Wait a second, you knew all this?
I might have watched like a 3 or 4 hour long video explaining Blaze Blue lore.
Oh, did you see
Then
the
why didn't
Thorgy
you
one
say
too? That's the
anything
one I
when we
saw.
got to this?
Because
You knew so much shit on it, and you're like, never mind, skip.
Okay, well, in my defense, I didn't want to talk about it too much without Zoro here, so I feigned knowing nothing.
I appreciate that, Dark Lore. I appreciate you saving the chance for me to talk about it. So yeah.
Yeah, it is like his thing, so.
Okay. So yeah, Terumi could.
What I think of Tamamo versus Volpina. I know Tamamo from Hell Teacher Nube. I don't know who Volpina is. I've never seen Miraculous. But let's wrap this up. Give your last little thing here.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess just final thought. One last thought about the matchup before we wrap up is just to reiterate. Yeah, Terumi could probably just pull a Zeno and do that if it reaches that point. But yeah, overall, yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right. Any matchups you saw today that you didn't know about or like more at all?
I definitely want to do King Bradley versus Liquid Snake at some point.
Don't you mean Solidus?
Yeah, Liquid Snake is the Wesker opponent.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I don't know. When you have all your major characters be variation of the same guy, it's really hard to keep track of them from an outsider's perspective.
Okay, no, it's not that hard to keep track of. Okay, you got Solid Snake, you got Liquid Snake, you got Solidus Snake. Completely different guy. You also got Naked Snake. Who is Big Boss, who then also created a guy named Venom Snake. You only got like 5 guys. Ignoring the 2 guys who call themselves Solid Snake. Okay, you ignore them. Because one of them was Solidus and the other guy was Raiden, who's not a snake.
And people say Kingdom Hearts lore is complicated, man.
Okay, look. Okay, all right, motherfucker. Okay, at least with Metal Gear Solid, the only fucking Disney references is the Beauty and the Beast units back in Metal Gear Solid 4, and like.
That's a thing.
Oh yeah, there's the bosses of Metal Gear Solid 4 are the Beauty and the Beast units. They are not good characters. Like. The entire thing with them is just they have no personality. They give like a meaningless monologue at the start of their fight. You fight them, they die, and then a guy comes in on a codec and says, "Hey, you know that guy? Well, it's actually a woman, and they had a terrible backstory that I'm going to tell you in excruciating detail." And then they tell you like some atrocity and war crime, and then it's just like, all right, now get back to going out there and killing other people. Don't worry about it. And then they never bring it up. I hate the Beauty and the Beast units in MGS4. They suck.
Somebody said, or sorry, Tanis? Is that the name? Tanis said, "Isn't any lore confusing?" I'm actually going to say yes, because one of my favorite games is Jak and Daxter. And there is a confusing bit of lore of that his past self is in the future, who went back to the past, who went back to the future, who is also somehow Mar, the guy who created Haven City in the first place. But he can't be Mar, because that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to say yes, every lore is confusing. He has 3 different
Yeah,
people.
this is why
at 3
I'm the
different points
lore
in time.
master. And also, if we ever do a FNAF episode, I'm gonna lose my mind.
But I'm gonna wrap it up here because I gotta get started doing other things right now.
Yeah, I wanted to go see the Superman movie today.
Yeah, go do that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have Jafar decide the next topic because he hasn't been able to make it because of the time we do it. So next time maybe we can just do it later in the day, and have Jabber here with us finally. I don't know how many people will be able to join us that day, but like I want to show him some love. So next Thursday I'll post the theme and ask for matchups. Jabber will be deciding that theme.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah, thanks to everyone who showed up.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Matchups.
Someone said,
and thank you for letting me ramble.
All right. One final thing. Akir asked a while back. My Wi-Fi went out, so I just saw this comment asking if Mega Rayquaza is allowed. Yes, Mega Rayquaza is one of the only Pokemon that can flip in Mega Evolve without their Mega Stone because he ate it.
Yeah.
So he always has it.
That. Mega Rayquaza is also the only Pokemon to kill a woman inside the manga. Fun.
Yeah, Rayquaza has a bounty count, so I guess they're both human killers.
Anyway, we'll see y'all later. Hopefully I get that.
Bye.
Goodbye. Don't forget to watch Kamen Rider.
Bye.